All right, we're going to talk about something that may make sense to you. Prepare for the downside of utopia. What are we going into? Well, let's say you choose utopia. What does that mean? A golden era. That means never feeling anxiety or anger or any kind of feeling that wakes you up at 3 o'clock in the morning and makes your the pit of your stomach, turn. So prepare for the downside of utopia, because I'm going to tell you what happens when all of that goes away. And we are moving into that. It is an individual choice. Not everyone's going to go. You can go, but I'm going to ask you a question, because this may be one of the reasons you're not stepping into the golden era and you're holding back. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. Are you ready to do that? We're going to talk about the golden era that we are going into right now. It's happening. I see things dissolving, and it is challenging. Some of it may feel very uncomfortable, but deep down you know it's right. When you step out of things and you say, I'm not going to let that bother me anymore. Okay, what if I don't adhere to these rules or regulations, but I know what I'm doing is okay. And that the world, if the world tags you as wrong or stupid or ADD or autistic and all these other things, it has these negative connotations, or you've made a mistake and the world calls you this loser. You're tagged, you're named, you're labeled. And all of a sudden you realize it was a moment in time, and that the world is going to try and categorize us. Why? Because it controls us. It keeps us in a state of disempowerment. I'm going to talk to you today about why so many people do hold back from that world. Why it's a little scary, and I want you to prepare for it, because you can go into it without the downside of euphoria. I hope that you'll subscribe, and those of you who are entrepreneurs or creating planet conscious businesses, you don't need to have a background in business. We don't teach technology, so you don't have to worry about that. Come in just knowing you want to make a difference. We're going to find that beautiful thing that can change the world, help you to earn in a way that doesn't pollute or destroy our planet, and no bullshit sales pitches to people that just aren't true. You sick of those? I am. That's down here. It's called digitalexplorers.net. Now, that is an example of someone who's changing the world, and it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable for me to do that, because I'm speaking things that are very different than what other people teach out there. Say what you need to get people to buy your stuff. I won't do it. And so sometimes I tell the truth that people don't want to hear it because they want to believe the false stuff. And that's the world I'm talking about, that people want to stay in. They still hang on to the hope in a material world that things are going to go away, and that they don't have to make any effort to get the stuff, because they believe the stuff's going to make them comfortable. Is that you? And over again throughout your life, you keep going after those dreams, and you're missing that other part, that there's a journey to get there that is amazing, and it will challenge you. We don't want that, but we signed up for it. When you go into the space of realizing that I signed up for this, I don't get out of it, there is no safe, perfect space. You came from that. You're going back to that. This is a moment in time, my friend. What are you going to do with it? It's amazing. We don't get to feel fear or anger or loss there. It's impossible to feel that, because we're not in the density of the 3D world. We're not even connected to it. We're one whole, but you connect to that. You can access that perfect space. So we can go into that from here by making decisions. Now here's what happens. You're still going to be in a 3D world, a material world, and there's density. So no matter how advanced you get, no matter how awakened, you will still experience this play, this game that we signed up for. It's part of the matrix that allows us to understand it, but to not react to it in a negative way, and to evolve into something greater. That's the whole point of the game. It's not to avoid it, it's to say, okay, let's go into it. When I teach breakthrough fear, the first thing we do is we go straight into it, and they're like, what? I said, no, we can't avoid it. You can't avoid it. It's impossible. You go straight into it. Why? Because it doesn't have any power over you. You're the creator of it. That fear, it's yours. You created it because you had to believe something. Right? I have to believe it to feel fear. I have to believe that I'm not going to be okay. I have to believe that the world's going to hell in a handbasket. To wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning sweating. You're eternal. You don't have to worry about anything. Nothing. Did you see that earthquake that just happened? Yeah? That's scary stuff. And that's beyond our control because planet Earth, is going through her own stuff, but we're affecting her. Right? If your body is attacked by mosquitoes and poison ivy and stuff, you're going to be affected by that, and that's what we are doing to her. There are going to be repercussions for everything that you do. Now let's talk about going into that euphoric state. What is it? Euphoria is when your ego stops saying that somebody's wrong, that the world is a crappy place, that there are evil people, that there's some alien that's doing bad stuff, and you realize everything is one just experiencing all kinds of stuff. Some of it's very uncomfortable. Oh, all right. It's an experience. And that you get to play in that field. So if you get to be the person that, saves somebody who wants to be saved, that's a great scenario. If you're the person, who goes through your own trials and tribulations and saves yourself, that's an amazing journey. That's an experience. That's a beautiful. And what happens when you go into the awakened state and you go into utopia? It can actually be very depressing. Now, some of you think that you're in a awakened state and you go, oh, I relate. I'm depressed because they're doing that. So, oh, no, you're still saying they. So you're not really awakened. You think you're awakened. So you're actually extremely separated because you're still thinking that there's somebody who's a problem. True awakening, when you go into that state of euphoria, you see the beauty in others, and it hurts because they don't. That's it. You're not looking at the politics of who's saying what. You don't care about that. You just see the pain, and it hurts because we're connected to that. We're all one, so there is pain that we experience because they're going through it too, and until they come out of it, we still are connected to that. That's it. You're not judging what they're doing or how they're doing or what they're thinking. There's no judgment anymore on that. Because Source doesn't judge what it is, right? That's an illusion too. Judgment's an illusion. You get to judge. But it's separation. It doesn't feel good, and it keeps us in that state of negativity, of choices that are painful, of struggle, fear. So when you let it go, you realize, what is it I'm really fearing? I'm eternal. Okay. Is that potential situation that could happen? Is it really that horrible? Well, the more I fear it, the more I actually entangle with it and create it. The downside is that you could be bored. Let's say the whole world goes into euphoria. You could be bored. That's why we're playing these games in the first place, because perfection gets boring. Now, ultimately, no, because there's no such thing as boring when you are perfect. But it likes to explore all these challenges. It likes the challenges because it's the triumph that's so great when there's a challenge, right? So some of you are addicted to that. So you self-sabotage a lot because it's interesting, right? We all love to look at a train wreck, right? You on social media looking at some stuff, huh? Did you see the crane and the earthquake? There was a crane operator in there, and there's a close-up with camera. You got cameras on all these buildings, and this guy fell out of that crane from I don't know how many stories. It was pretty high. You can see him going. You can see him tumbling to his death, and we watch it. It's interesting. It's fascinating. Yeah, that's the downside. We're still addicted to that. There's something fascinating about it because it's really not what we are. But we haven't really been that. So we look at that and we go, what is that? It's fascinating. Death. What did he feel when he was tumbling to his death? What's it like to experience ABC? Any number of things. I lost a friend. She was only 42 last year. And I thought, I saw the stages she went through When she found out she had cancer, she almost died that first few days. She pulled through, and then she started treatment. It was already through her body. She didn't want to believe it. And I believe in miracles. But I also believe there was some reason why she didn't stay here. We cannot know what another person's journey is. It's not right nor wrong, good nor bad. It just is. Now, she believes because she had lost her mom and her grandfather and went through some really, traumatic stuff, she believes, this is what she told me, that what traumatized her and she internalized it. And I believe she's absolutely right. So we have to be careful with that because energy is everything. And if you internalize these negative things, these negative thoughts about how things are, there's an imbalance that happens in your body. It goes into worry. It's like the perfect balance of bacteria with all the good stuff gets imbalanced, and then it creates, and it's expressed through the body. Everything's expressed in every moment. So euphoria, it can be amazing. But do you still want challenges? Yeah, I do. I like challenges. Let's not take them so extreme. So you don't have to go to the super illness. You don't have to be broke. You don't have to go into abuse. You don't have to go into any of that. Karma's happening now. Whatever you're giving, you're receiving immediately. You can turn anything around. So if you're not getting out of something, you got to ask yourself why. Are you still behaving as the person who created that? So I had to look at some things in my life and say, okay, I've made some big changes. I'm in a very small place that I love. Because sometimes in your head you think you need to be all these things to create that happiness, or that's who you are. And I realize it's not who I am. In fact, I don't think it's ever been who I am. I've always felt so good about simplicity, even though I love beautiful things. I've always felt better about that simple kind of life, and that the relationships were more important to me. And so when you go back into that, you're going to find a real peace. But there's some of you who are going to create the problems because it's exciting, right? It's the downside of euphoria. It's like boring. It doesn't have to be. So challenge yourself. Pick goals. If you want to win the Olympics, you're going to have to put yourself through some challenges. Those are the kind of goals that could be amazing for you. If you want to be a writer, quit telling yourself the stories. Write the books. We have AI now that helps us. I'm not talking about writing your stuff. Don't go there. But, gives you ideas, organizes. Put your book into Notebook LM. It'll organize it for you. It'll summarize things, and you can say, oh, that's not right. I need to do this. There's so many tools. You can have abundance and fun doing these things and still challenge yourself. You can still be challenged and not live in a boring, euphoric world. And I think some of you are afraid, deep down afraid, that I don't get to experience all this craziness that I sort of like. The conspiracy, why do you watch conspiracy? Does it feel good when somebody tells you some reptilian is controlling us and this is a prison planet? I love that. We want to believe there's something out there that's going to save us. Somebody mentioned med beds. There's nothing out there that has shown a med bed that actually heals anybody. You can do it yourself. You don't need a med bed. We're always looking outside of ourselves. There's a person, they're right, they're wrong, they're dissing. Who cares? You're walking around with perfection right here. You got the jewels in your tattered pockets, my friend. Reach in. That's the downside. We're addicted. We're addicted to it, but make sure that the challenge is not a destructive one or one of separation or violence or conflict or anything that points fingers at somebody who's just as beautiful and perfect as you are. And this is the game. It's like playing chess and going, I'm going to get rid of all the pawns. What the heck is that? There's no game anymore. You just destroyed the game. That's it. You can't play Pac-Man unless something comes out and goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Just avoid it next time. Oh, okay. I told my students, we had a real good laugh because digital explorers, my my training company for Planet Conscious Businesses, digital explorers, we start in the base, we start into creation, we go into base camp, and then we make our way up to summit. And I said, did you know in real life that people in going up to Everest, sometimes they poop their pants, right? Somebody was talking about that he kept pooping his pants. He says at one point you just give up. And I said, well, next time he goes up Everest, it didn't stop him from going to up Everest. It didn't stop him. Right? He still did it. He didn't go, oh, I pooped my pants, I'm going back to base camp. But he kept going. That's it. You can poop your pants. Guess what? Next time you put on, adult diapers. And then when you poop your pants, it doesn't stop you from pooping your pants, but at least you won't soil the rest of your suit. That's it. That's all we're doing. We learn. We learn. The challenges will still be there, but they are not the negative ones that are going to be so horrific anymore. So the downside could be, that shit's not maybe as exciting, or, who wants to live out in heaven? You're just bored out of your brains after a while, right? You don't have to be. Challenge yourself in an amazing way. How do I challenge myself? Maybe I create, some kind of retreat to help people. Maybe I go in and create a new platform to help those who don't know how to help themselves, or to feed people, or to we can go on and on. Digital Explorers, you guys come on over. We're doing it, man. It's fun. It's crazy. My students, I'm watching them push themselves into places that are uncomfortable and loving it, and didn't know that what they were capable of. And I'm watching them evolve. And I'm watching how beautiful they look, and how happy they look, and how challenged they get, but they're okay with the challenges because they know they're in a space of creation that's good for them and everything else. You don't have to be bored. So I hope you'll subscribe and share my videos. I'm going to talk more about this new world we're going into, because it's going to shock you of how many things you're plugged into that you need to unplug from, that are telling you that you have to abide by this to be okay with society or finance or government or anything else. And I'm not talking about breaking the rules here. I'm talking about maybe dropping out of some things. Just, they're never going to work for you. They're great for somebody else. You ready to do that? What is it right now you'd like to drop out of? Health? Financially? What is it? Let's talk about it. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.